Good day everyone and welcome to another vlog for the Exodus 712K JV project. This week I did not get too much, but the little I got to do, I'm definitely going to be telling you guys about. First things first is I actually got to the reptile sounds this week. I'll put links, not a link, links in the post to various videos that actually show you the sounds of reptiles, and it's quite underwhelming, I have to say. I was quite disappointed. Not in the sense that the sounds that they made are bad. It's just that they're a lot quieter than you would think they are. For example, the biggest sound I heard out of a lizard came from a crocodile. The second biggest came from what is typically known as a monitor lizard, which kind of uses his whole body as a billow. So he makes this very breathy growl sound. It's a very awesome sound, but it's not what you would expect from a T-Rex. Stupid example. So unfortunately, it wasn't the sounds that I expected them to be. So I kind of had to improvise with the sound and go with a similar approach to what they did with Jurassic Park, which was combining sounds, various kinds of sounds, to produce those kind of breathy growls to get as close as possible to what something like that would sound like. The snakes, however, were a little bit more straightforward. So first I'm going to tell you about the sounds, and then I'm going to play you the shot. So for the transformation of the snakes, remember I told you guys I wanted to put a little something there to kind of add to the sound that the snakes were the sticks were transforming into snakes specifically. So I went with that vibrato kind of hissing that they do. Unfortunately, I couldn't get the vibrato I was producing to actually be recorded. For some reason, it was more in my head than it was actually being recorded. It's a strange phenomenon. Because I could clearly hear it in my head, you know, because I kind of moved my tongue a little bit or whatever, but the microphone only picked up the sound of the air, if that makes any sense. So what I did is I used a wah-wah effect to make the volume alter very rapidly to produce that wobble sound. And of course, there's the hissing strike sound. And remember I told you guys about the sound I wanted to add in this section where they're being captured. So it's kind of knocking the breath out of them in a way. I don't know if they would technically do that. I don't think so. But, you know, this is just to boost the whole thing a little bit. So, of course, I added that kind of capture hiss as well. And the biggest change, of course, came with the transformation in here with this sound. And of course, for the somersault kind of thing, which I told you guys about last week, I just added the whoosh in there. I might add something later in there. I tried the smaller stick sound. I didn't try the whoosh kind of sound because it just doesn't fit. He moves too slow. I don't know. Anyway, so of course, and the scream. But duplicating the scream for this part right here didn't make any visual sense. The sound was too loud or it was inaudible. So the scream for this part right here, I just took it out. And I made it continue for the inserting shots. Let me just hit home. Right here. So when he comes in, there is a continuation. Now you don't see it here because I didn't draw the waveform and I reduced the pitch to just change the sound. That's why I extended the sound out. Just remember that if you want to extend the sound, you have to do it in here with length. If you try to do it with the handle over here, it's just not going to happen. It's just not. I've tried. It doesn't happen. Maybe in previous versions of Blender, but at least in 2.79 RC2, you won't get it extended. Okay, so for there, it just continues slightly. Very low volume, can barely hear it. And of course, the magicians continue transforming. And for this growling scream thing right here, I just didn't add anything at all. The irony for me is that with lizards, they often display more than they vocalize. Specifically, the lizard I modeled this one after, you know, the frilled neck lizard. It tends to, you know, more than it does anything else. So it just has his mouth open, even when it chases you, you know, to try and warn you off. It doesn't make any sound. It's weird. It's so strange. Lizards must work in a very different way than most other animals do. At least just my theory. So I'm going to play these shots so you guys can hear it. So do bear with me. I did the best I could. I do think it fits. It'll be more cohesive when there's music in it. But I'll show you how it was put together after I played you guys it. Okay, that's awesome. And of course, it continues over here. Like I said, barely audible. And of course, we've got the snake thing. I'm going to play it from here so that this sound actually sounds right. Love it. I might turn it down a little bit. I feel that the capture sound is a little bit too loud, but it's hilarious. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's kind of like when somebody pushes you from behind. You know, you also get that kind of kind of thing. That's what I was going for. Anyway. So that's pretty much it I got to this week was adding these sounds. The biggest reason is that I was working on something else, and I was being totally chicken to actually record these sounds because, as you know, I am not a lizard per se, so it is not a noise I would naturally make, generally. So of course, being disproportionately self-conscious. In this instance, I put it off for probably months, I would say. I've been chickening out not to do it. So finally did it. And it's actually good. I like it. So this is the sounds that it was built out of. Okay, so here are my basic recordings. So let's hear this one. Just want to make sure it's not all the way up, otherwise it's too loud. Okay, that's one of mine. Another one of mine. I think this would be... Oh, this is one of my favorites. I think it's this one. Oh, I love that one. That's just like a gurgle kind of sound with breath going through. It's just absolutely awesome to do. Let me play that again. Just love it. Just absolutely love it. And of course, this is a very short growl from my dog, which I didn't even have to struggle to get. You know, he's a pit bull mix with a mastiff. You know, very, very sweet, the sweetest thing in the world. And he's very vocal. So when we played together or whatever, I have him chase me around the desk. And because he gets a little bit flustered or whatever, he starts in his own way telling me to knock it off, for lack of a better term. So it wasn't even difficult to record. I just set my phone, which I use for all the recording, at the spot where he usually growls at me when he chases me around the table. And that was it. So, of course, to... reward the whole thing, I totally let him catch up with me and, wrestle and all that kind of stuff. So it's just the sweetest thing ever. So this is one of the short growls. Very short. I don't think I even used it. It was way too little info. And this is a proper one that he does. Love that. And of course, this is also one of his kind of gurgly growl sounds as well. That he does before he kind of growls and sneezes from excitement. So this one is very similar to the one up here that I was able to perform as well. Except mine was just a little bit more breathy and creepy. Okay, so the editing for this was a bit of a mission. So this is just what the editing looks like. Of course, I did edit a lot of it, transposing, reversing, just a bunch of stuff, but it had way too much presence. So I'm going to play you this sound. It's way too much presence, just overdoes it completely. When I did that with the edit, I saw that the sound coming from there is a lot bigger than the creature itself. So that just didn't fit. Of course, the first solution that you would go for is just reducing the bass a little bit, because the smaller the critter, generally, not always, but generally the less bass they would be able to produce, because there's less resonance. Less resonance capacity, because the animal is smaller. And of course that worked. So instead of, we get, and that's it. So that's it for this week. Hope you guys found this useful. Have a great one, and God bless you.